consultation. ALLEN is the spelling, AllenLaw.com. ALLEN, the spelling. And of course, we want to thank our studio sponsor. We're in our mobile studio today, the Future Home Loan Studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill is where we're normally camped out, but we're on the road today as well, thanks to the good folks at Future Home Loans. A lot to get to. Let's take our first break of the day. Again, big news, official news out of Miami Coral Gables. The Hurricanes have announced that Manny Diaz has officially been fired as the Miami Hurricanes head coach after 3 seasons, paving the way for Mario Cristobal, making the move back to the deep South and South Florida, where he has spent a lot of his life. We'll talk about that and a lot more on the other side with Brent Beard. It is a Monday edition of College Sports Today.
Lawyers nowadays try to attract new clients by putting big numbers in front of them. I can do that too, but the only number that really matters to me is the one I get for you. I can't guarantee you any particular result because all cases are different. However, I can absolutely guarantee you that if I take your case, I will work personally with you to seek the best possible result, because that's what really matters to you. At Allen Law Firm, clients and results are what we're all about. Call me anytime.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila, 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
It's time to thank the sponsors that make College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell possible. Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of College Sports Today. Make sure you ask for Vida de Luis Tequila by name in your favorite bars and restaurants throughout the state of Florida. And of course, with your next margarita inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The official seafood restaurants of College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell can be found up and down the Northeast Florida coast. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The proud seafood sponsors of College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. J.B. Coxwell Contracting, established in 1983 and offering complete site development. Go with the company generally considered the most well-respected heavy civil construction firm in Northeast Florida. Go with J.B. Coxwell Construction. For advertising information to get your business on College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell, simply shoot me an email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Again, shoot me, Terry Norvell, an email, and I'll get back with you. That email address again, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com.
Back here on College Sports Today, presented by the Allen Law Firm. We are broadcasting from the Future Home Loans studio. I want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors that you saw a moment ago, including our leading sponsors, the Allen Law Firm and Future Home Loans. They have made this show happen all football season. Couldn't do it without those good folks. And, of course, our producer, Evan Miller. With that, I promised Brent Beard will join us today. Coach Spurrier traveling, busy week for the coach. He is on the road all week. He is out at the College Football Hall of Fame ceremony, which will have a big dinner and induction tomorrow night, Tuesday night. And then he will travel, Coach Spurrier will travel straight basically to the Heisman Trophy end of the week ceremonies. Obviously, they have a big thing going Thursday and Friday, all the press Thursday and Friday, and then the big ceremony and the announcement on Saturday. So Coach Spurrier out all week. He'll be back next week. We'll catch up with Shane Matthews as well on Friday. With that, though, we want to bring in our buddy Brent Beard. Brent covers college sports, college football, as well as anybody. Brent, how you doing, boy? We have got a lot to go over, including the breaking news out of Miami. Ugly the way they handled this the last couple of days. Manny Diaz, his name just flapping in the wind, but the Canes today, moments ago, have officially parted ways, fired Manny Diaz.
Yeah, just an amazing situation as far as how they have handled this. Now, here's the amazing thing about it. Now think about this a minute, Terry. It's $8 million to buy out Manny Diaz. It's $9 million to buy out Mario Cristobal at Oregon. Then it's probably going to be about $8 million for Cristobal's salary at Miami.
That's what I'm saying.
Do the math on that, and for obviously what is going on here would be between boosters and former players who are upping the money in order to do this. Now, I'm curious if you've heard what I've heard. They told him he wasn't coming back about 2 or 3 weeks in the wind as far as sending him on the recruiting trail and all that goes along with it. Terry, I saw a tweet just about 30 seconds ago. It said, what are they going to do if Cristobal has buyer's remorse and changes his mind at the 11th hour?
Hard to have buyer's remorse at $8 million, but boy, you hit all the topics. It was just bad optics, Brent. Wasn't just at $8 million. It was let me hit a couple buttons here. It was just bad optics, Brent. The way, even if that Diaz, and he was announced privately that he wasn't coming back. He knew, but the public at large, it just looks at the company website, and your job is posted. And you're still there, and you haven't been told. I know he was told, but man, that's just bad optics for Miami. The way this thing played out, but obviously Cristobal, they say Barry Jackson from down there, a longtime reporter down in Miami, is reporting late stages. So Cristobal, it's going to work out now. 11th hour, Oregon's got to do something, probably bump somebody up on their staff. But yeah, this thing is getting it's been a fun, silly season in college football, but man, a lot of movement. So Diaz out, Cristobal in. You had one more thing to add, Brent?
Well, a couple of quick things here. The Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator, who I would say was their best coach, period. Went to SMU, and that hurt them very badly after he left. Now, look, I really appreciate and have a lot of respect for Mario Cristobal. He is a tremendous recruiter. But Terry, you and I have talked about this in the past. Miami fans need to realize something. When Mario has been at Oregon, pretty much every year, they have had a game or two where they had just an inexplicable loss, where his team looked like it was not prepared and they were not ready to play, and it was just indescribable. And I can tell you, Terry, the Pac-12 championship game, and I give more credit to Utah, but probably. But they were a physical team. They just dominated that game. But look, as much as we like Cristobal, Terry, isn't that out there that wherever he goes, you're going to have, and I know all coaches do this, but you're going to have a couple of games during the year that you're scratching your head wondering where in the world did that come from?
And he has one of those games. I think it was Stanford this year. I think
it was.
Stanford this year had 9-loss Stanford team had no business beating an Oregon team that went into Columbus and beat an Ohio State team shorthanded. By the way, they went into Columbus shorthanded.
Yes.
But that is the latest news. Yeah, it was just handled awkwardly. Again, I know Manny Diaz knew what was going on, but the public, the optics did not look good. It was basically your job was posted before you were officially terminated, at the workplace. Awkward. Winners over the weekend, Alabama, the SEC Cincinnati. Big win for Bama. They get the #1 spot. Big win over Georgia. The SEC, though you don't get any extra money for getting 2 teams in, I think 2 teams is very valuable. It's very, very valuable on the negotiating trail. You get to stick your chest out. You get to call that you're the big boy. If you consistently get 2 teams in the 14 playoff as the SEC has, you're the big boy. And Cincinnati, boy, Cincinnati's going to send a Christmas card to the Baylor defensive back that held the running back for Oklahoma State out. I'm not so sure why that back doesn't just lower his shoulder and fall into the end zone, but the games weren't great outside of that first one. But now we know the Final Four. Your thoughts on kind of some of the big things that happened over the weekend?
Well, I'll say, first of all, for the Georgia-Alabama game, Terry, there have been 2 games in recent memory, and this also goes back for a while, too, of a team that was so overconfident that it really cost them dearly. Now, that was a Georgia situation. Their players, their coaches, they knew there was no way they were going to lose that game.
Sure.
It smacks to the 92 national championship game in the Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Miami, when the thought process was the same thing. And it also goes back, Terry, to the Florida State-Miami game, where Florida State spent most of the summer working on the rap video
I remember
instead of practicing for Miami. And help me on this, if I remember this right, got shut out. Was it 31-0 or something like that?
It was 31-0 exactly is what it was.
Yeah. Yes. So
good analogy.
No, look, I know, Terry, and you know, games are won in preparation and they're won on the field, but Georgia won a really good lesson from that loss. And look, I'll also freely admit, Terry, Alabama for the first time this year put together a total game.
Really did.
I mean, their offensive line did not allow a sack. Bryce Young certainly zoomed, if he wasn't there already, to the head of the Heisman situation. By the way, Heisman votes are due today by 5 p.m.
Yes.
And frankly, the Alabama defense, the pick 6 by Battle was huge in the game. So again, there were a lot of lessons learned there, but you and I both know there's a real good chance. And again, congrats to a really good Michigan performance against a very, frankly, inept Iowa team, and then Cincinnati winning over Houston. So it's an intriguing Final Four, but I think probably both of us believe that we'll have a rematch in the championship game.
I want to quickly say hi to Dan and Andrew and Gerald, some people checking in on Facebook Live. Gerald says, go Gators from frozen Minnesota. Well, move. What are you doing there, for God's sakes? Get out of there, Gerald. Come on down. You've heard of the Sunshine State, right? A couple thoughts on what you said. Really nice performance by Alabama all the way around. From the Georgia perspective, though, I was blown away yesterday, mostly Saturday night late, and then yesterday. All the social media just saying, Georgia, another year you don't win a national title. Georgia's still in it. There's 4 teams that can still win the national championship. Obviously, they've got to regroup, and they've got a physical Michigan team, and then maybe Alabama in a rematch. But Georgia is still in it. And don't you feel bad for the running back at Oklahoma State? He was playing because their star running back, their nearly 1,200-yard running back, did not play. He was injured. So the poor guy, number 27, who, as I watched and you watched, he never struck me during the game as a speed back. They tried to outrace the corner to the pylon. Brett, didn't you think, like most people in the world watching that game, if he just squared up on that DB,
sure.
even if the DB made a good solid tackle, he was going to tackle him about 1.5 yards into the end zone. Didn't you see it like that? And
ended up being Terry. I know that would have been not in inches or yards away. It was what, centimeters,
Yes.
centimeters
Yeah.
before. What a difficult way to lose a game.
Yeah, really was. And I truly think that Oklahoma State, if they win Saturday, they're in. That would have been their third top 10 win. They would have beaten Baylor, a real good Baylor. People forget Baylor was sitting number 9 Saturday.
That's
So
right.
that would have been a win over number 9 Baylor, the second win over number 9 Baylor, and a win over Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma State would have gotten in. Cincinnati probably would have been shut out, but Georgia wouldn't have slept very well, I don't think, if Oklahoma State had won. Matthews thinks the Stetson Bennett complaining is not warranted because he put up a lot of yards, a couple touchdowns. I see it a little different. I thought he threw 3 touchdowns Saturday against Alabama. One was a lob pass to the big tight end. One was a tunnel screen that was taken from the line of scrimmage. Tight end that scored, run after catch. Stetson Bennett, 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, and frankly, his third maybe pass of the game should have been another pick 6. The Alabama guy dropped it.
Yes.
I'm not saying Georgia lost all because of Stetson Bennett, but you wonder at what point in that second half, down 2 touchdowns, do you not at least throw in the other quarterback for a spark? And frankly, sometimes when quarterbacks come in and spark a team, it also sparks your own defense. What do you make of the entire Georgia? Is there something there? Is JT Daniels too injured? Has he told the staff he wants to save a redshirt year? Is there something there? It seems weird that James would not have been handed the ball at some point in that fourth quarter.
Well, I think what you may have is for Kirby Smart and coaches like him, he just trusts Stetson Bennett more. But the reality of it is, I'm just wondering in this Michigan game, and Kirby's going to be hit with this for the next 3 weeks, where there'll be a shorter leash for Bennett in the next game. I agree with you. It really makes you wonder if you would have put JT Daniels in, because look, he basically had, with George Pickens coming back, except probably for Dominic Blaylock, they pretty well had their whole complement of wide receivers. So there are no shortage of weapons there when you include those incredible tight ends. But at some point, I think that's got to be something that they have got to be able to look at as they get in the next game. But look, you're right. People need to realize that Georgia has everything in front of them, and if they could do what Alabama did after the A&M loss and just kind of get themselves back together, re-energize themselves and focus, I mean, Georgia will be fine. And Bennett's had a tremendous year. He's led them and got them where they were, and I think that's probably in Kirby Smart's mind because you remember you've got a situation with Stetson Bennett. He's up for the Burlsworth Award that they're named after the Arkansas player where a walk-on gets a scholarship and basically goes to glory. And that's kind of what's happened to Stetson. And Stetson reminds Kirby of himself, that Kirby was a walk-on and got a scholarship and went from there. And look, all that is tremendous. I get it. But to your point, you've got to believe that in the Michigan game, and they'll deal with this over the next few weeks, that if he does end up playing both of them, if Bennett struggles in the game.
You just wonder also, Georgia had trouble running the ball against Alabama. You wonder how much of that was Alabama defensively going, man, this guy's not going to beat us over the top very often. And that defense, creeping up and not worrying about really getting run by because, Stetson's not a deep ball, fire it downfield kind of guy. We'll see, but it's blame stuff on now. In the past it was Eason with the injury and Daniels, unless we've missed something and they've kept it under wraps, I think he's been healthy for 7-8 weeks. So
The Georgia beat writers would tell you there's a lack of mental toughness there, which may be also factored in this. But again, your point's a good one. There's a lot here that we don't know. But Terry, to dovetail with your point, one of the things that Georgia is defensively, if their pass rush is not working, that's a problem. I mean, look, this Alabama offensive line by far, which is their weakness on offense, played as well as they have the entire season, allowing 0 sacks. And the point is, and you and I shared this a few weeks ago, Georgia beat writers have told us that if you can get the ball into the secondary, particularly the safeties, that's where Georgia's weakness is. So the point here is, if Georgia's pass rush is not working, that leaves them to be exploited, and that's a lot of what Bryce Young was able to do.
And everybody said the Georgia secondary might be their Achilles heel, and a few teams, not many. The schedule played out real well for Georgia too. They didn't face a lot of passing teams, but Tennessee had guys running open. You were told by guys like we talked to Mike Griffith with Matt Hayes a lot, and he said, and other guys, that secondary is the worrisome part. They don't know if they can't do it, but it's worrisome. Well, they couldn't do it against a really good, especially while Mechie was still on the field, a really good receiving corps for Alabama. Brent, a couple more minutes with Brent Beard here on a Monday edition of College Sports Day. Coach Spurrier out all week now. Coach Spurrier being Coach Spurrier, he is at the College Football Hall of Fame ceremony, which takes place tomorrow. Is the big banquet and induction. They'll put the latest class. Of course, Coach Spurrier is part of the College Football Hall of Fame, so he's out there. I believe that's in Vegas. Don't quote me on that, but I know Coach was traveling all week. And then he will almost go straight to New York late in the week. Brent, you're a voter. The Heisman Trophy, the deadline to vote is today. I think they have kind of the whirlwind Thursday, Friday media